I just wanted you to know.
Damn, Halsey. What is going on, everybody? It's Michael here, and we've got another album reaction set to dive into here, which I'm incredibly excited for. I'm also cautiously optimistic as well because it's Halsey, and Halsey always has that opportunity to rip me to shreds with her songwriting and her music, as she has done so in the past. I'm incredibly excited because I'm just such a big fan of her. They are someone whose music I have discovered here on the channel. I've reacted to all of their albums in full here, and I knew who they were prior to the channel because of the big hits, but I feel like I really have gotten to know them far beyond those big hits because there's so much to dig into as far as Halsey goes beyond, you know, all the massive hits and mainstream success that they've had over the years. Very artistic individual, visionary, probably as vulnerable an artist that's out there right now. Yeah, if you guys followed me to an extent, you know that I live for that stuff. So I, again, cautiously optimistic here because I am prepared to just be damaged personally in all the best ways by Halsey's album here, which is titled The Great Impersonator. And I haven't heard any song off this album. I know that they've dropped a few songs here and there. I'm not exactly sure how many songs she dropped pre the album release, but I do know that there were a few, and I haven't heard anything, but I have seen the posts on Instagram of like impersonating each artist that played a large role in, you know, being inspired to create this whole project. I don't have a ton of info about this project really outside of seeing that, you know, she was clearly very heavily inspired by all these particular artists, which is cool to see because that's just what happens, right? Like, art that gets created is a product of inspiration. So for her to pay such particular respect to those inspirations for this project, it's just so cool to see all the artists that she's shown that respect to. I'm also aware of the health issues. I know Halsey has been dealing with, more recently, particularly lupus, leukemia, I believe, as well. She's been dealing with for a while now. I know there's been just kind of perpetual health issues as far as she is concerned. So that's another thing I have in mind as far as perhaps what might go into some of the writing in this album as I prepare to listen and, again, just perhaps be destroyed. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Manic is my favorite Halsey album out of all the ones that I've heard. And again, I've heard them all here on the channel. Manic is the one that has sat with me the most, and it just wrecked me. It absolutely destroyed me up and down. So perhaps I just have an affinity to being wrecked. As always, here on the channel for my full uncut reaction to this album. Video is usually about twice as long. That's available on my Patreon right now. The link is in the description, as well as my full reaction uncut to all the Halsey albums over the years that I've listened to. And yeah, there's a lot on there. I've been creating full-time on there for over 3 years now, so there's just kind of endless amounts of content on there that never sees the light of day on YouTube. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it's also a great way to support me. Go check that out. All right, guys, that's enough talk. Let's dive into this album by Halsey. It's pretty long, 19 tracks. The first track is Only Living Girl in LA.
I wake up every day in some new kind of suffering. The ceremony's small inside, 'cause I don't know if I could sell out my own funeral. At least not at this point in time. It was never mine. Special talent isn't writing, it's not singing. It's feeling everything that everyone alive feels every day. Feels every day. Told my mother I would die by 27. This thing I love has grown demanding and obsessive, and it wants more than I can give them.
That was very interesting. That was very interesting. It was just like a 6 minute outpour of just these things going on in her mind. It sounds like there's a ton of overthinking. It's very crisis mode. It's giving like in all sorts of places, you know, whether it's questioning her career, questioning her value to the world, questioning her relationships as far as can I even sell out my own funeral? Which is funny because obviously she can sell out a venue full of thousands of people, you know, but in comparison, how much is that worth weighed against who's going to actually show up to your funeral? Like, what are the relationships you've established in real life? So yeah, it's very self-crisis mode. It's just kind of like an outpouring. There is like kind of this self-absorbed sort of thing. Like, I'm the only living girl in LA, right? The only girl, like it's just me. I'm the only person in my own orbit. Yet I'm also able to feel things to such an extreme where I feel what everyone else is feeling. And then there's also the line about cutting herself open, which I spoke about at the top of this video when it comes to like her level of vulnerability as far as her artistry and her songwriting goes. Really second to none. Like, there really aren't many other artists who open themselves up in the way she does. And I think she spoke to that in this song as well. When it comes to cutting herself open, and kind of feels like she speaks about it a little regrettably. You know, like, there's just a lot going on in the song from top to bottom that just feels like it's a lot of self-doubt, woe is me, acknowledgement of flaw, and like almost self-deprecating in a lot of different ways as well, and of just major crisis mode. And it's got me concerned because there's a lot of album left, and to start it off like that, yeah, it's kind of what I expected as far as policy goes, and sharing just what, you know, whatever is on her mind, no matter how it may make her seem. Like, she opens herself off to people who are just going to judge, right? People who are going to have their own thoughts and opinions, and it's what I love about her. So yeah, that being said, musically, it was an interesting. It's hard to like say how I feel about the song, musically and sonically, to be honest with you, just because I was just more so focused so much on the outpouring of just whatever was going on in her mind. It felt like, and it was just such an interesting structure. Yeah, let's keep going. That's an experience to start off the project. Over a 6 minute song of her having so much to say already. All right, Ego. We've all got one, small or large. It's there. Track 2.
Talk to my mom, fake smiles over FaceTime. Drink all night till I can't walk a straight line. Feel so low, but I'm high at the same time. I can't keep my feet on the ground.
Okay.
And I'm nervous what you'll think of me now.
Yeah.
I think that I should try to kill my ego. 'Cause if I don't, my ego might kill me. I'm all grown up, but somehow lately I'm acting like a fucking baby. I'm really not as happy as I seem. Still,
It's funny because track 1 happened, and I'm like, I have no way to really deliver my feelings to you guys as far as how I felt about that musically, just because it's such a unique track. It's not a bad or a good thing, honestly. It's just, I don't know. It's just so, no doubt, this is great. This is great. I love this musically already to start it off. And again, her, like, she really just leaves it out there I feel like it's so easy to withhold things. Like, this is the type of thing you could write and be like, no, I actually don't. I don't want to share this with people. With her, it's just, it's never a question. She's like, no, I'm going to put it out there because this is real life shit. This is exactly what I'm going through. Like, my ego has gotten a hold of me in a way that's incredibly unhealthy, and like, I'm acting like a fucking, I'm acting like a fuck, I'm all grown up, but I'm acting like a fucking baby. I'm not as happy as it seems. You know, what you see online and what you see on the internet is not like the reality of life. And that's the thing too. Like, we post the best parts of our life on the internet, and you know, she's letting you know, like, it's not real. And I feel like when things like her coming out with a lot of the health struggles too can kind of speak to that as well. But this is not even speaking about that. And she talks like drinking all night, can't walk a straight line, like I feel so low, but I'm high at the same time. I can speak to some other things that she might be indulging in to just kind of get her by. And she even talk to my mom, fake smiles over FaceTime, like she's not even revealing to the closest people in her life what she's, actually going through. It opens up a can of worms that you're just not prepared to discuss. And all of it coming down to her ego. It's just really fascinating because there's a lot of self-awareness rooted in that. There's a lot of self-awareness to you're depressed because of your ego, because you can recognize the fact that it's damaging. It's self-damaging, the way you present yourself, the way you let it take control of you and probably affect certain interactions.
I'm hoping that someone comes around and helps me figure it out.
You can do that on it.
I should try to kill my ego.
It's such a banger. She does this too. She knows how to root these behavioral concept songs in, you're like banging, but you're also reflecting so heavily on your own life. And this whole, our ego gets in the way of our ability to communicate. And I feel like so much of this song is rooted in that. And she says, I hope someone comes around that helps me figure it out. She's like, are you going to be that honest? It's like breaking that fourth wall a little bit about the way she puts it all out there in this music. But even it could also speak to, are you going to be that honest? Like that would be stepping over your ego to actually be honest in the way you communicate, because the way that you communicate is tied into your ego a lot, especially like in interpersonal relationships and conversations. And that probably goes to like the conversation with her mom too. Like her ego is too much in the way to actually tell the truth to the people like closest to her particularly, which is ironic because she does it in her music, right? But then that can reflect back on the funeral line where you're not being honest with the people that matter the most, like in your personal life, and then you have like a small amount of relationships, and a lot of that is your ego once again just getting in the way.
I wanna go back to the beginning when it all felt right. A rooftop, Lower East Side, I'm singing. Didn't give a fuck if I was winning. It's all done now, so who am I kidding? Doing way worse than I'm admitting. I think that I should try to kill my ego. I'm all grown up and somehow lately I'm acting like a fucking baby. I'm really not as happy as I seem. But nothing's as it seems.
And I'm really not that happy being me. These are just like, there's so much to take away from so many of these lines, and I spoke so much about how I feel about a lot of it already, but I'm really not that happy being me says so much in one line. Also, I want to go back to I'm way too nice and too forgiving again. It's just her communication throughout her life is clearly an issue, and the ego is certainly tied into that. I want to go back to the beginning when it all felt right. Rooftop, Lower East Side, I'm assuming that's like earlier on in her life, earlier on in her career. Didn't give a fuck if I was winning, right? Ego's tied into that as well, because your ego is going to be tied into your personal accomplishments. She wants to win, right? Professionally speaking, she wants to do well. And so much of her thought and so much of the things that happen in her life are tied into winning or tied into doing well in her career. And she wants to go back to like when it feels right. When it feels right, you're just not like worried about all of the things that come along with accomplishments, that come along with creating. You're not worried about the numbers, the amount of people streaming and viewing and all these things. You're just doing it because it feels right. You're just doing it because you love it. And I'm sure that those things certainly still are a thing, doing it because you love it. But like once you introduce numbers and the way that people compare and just the way that the society is, particularly with putting people on pedestals and just the way that internet culture and society is, like it is a thing. It's inescapable. So I deal with that as well, even with doing what I do. It's impossible to escape the comparison game, to the looking at numbers game. Like certain things just, you just want to take it back to like when it all feels right, when it all felt right at a certain point in time. So yeah, saying a lot already. I'm doing way worse than I'm admitting. Again, just the ego is getting in the way of being able to talk about how you really feel to the people that matter most. All right, let's keep on going. I love that song, by the way. All right, Dog Years, track 3.
Universal blood type I can give to anyone in need, but only receive from someone exactly like me. And don't you shoot me in the yard, put me down like a lame horse, or send me to the farm where all the dogs go.
That opening line is really interesting. It's like, I have universal blood type. I can give to anyone in need. I can be. It's kind of maybe speaks to the great impersonator part of this whole thing that I'm also kind of wondering when it's going to come into play with this album beyond just impersonating these artists, because I feel like there's definitely more going on there with that. But having a universal blood type, I can give to anyone in need, kind of feels like she can mold herself, impersonate herself, be somebody that somebody else needs, and probably often at the cost of herself, because she's not being her true self. She's bending to the needs of somebody else. And I can only receive from someone exactly like me. So I just feel like that, like, as far as what she needs, what her needs are, it's got to be someone just like her. It's a very specific set of needs that she has. But as far as like giving to someone else, she'll do whatever it takes. And it's just who she is. And I feel like that might speak more to that great impersonator part.
I've been a really good dog, and I come inside. Yeah, I've been such a good girl. Can we go for a ride on a real short leash? But I like it tight. You know I'm such a sweet girl, but I can really bite. Well, they say all dogs go to heaven.
Hey.
What about a bitch? Got an evil girl left lying in a ditch. Tell the 3 people who ask that I am in a better place. Not old, but I am tired. I'm 196 in dog years. I have seen enough. I've seen it all.
Oh, that's the kind of screaming vocal in the background. I feel like just is really speaking to kind of just being fed up. She's being asked literally to be put out of her misery pretty much in this song, like having mercy on me, take me out like a lame horse, kind of the old take him behind the barn, put the farm animal out of its misery type thing. And like this whole like dog, she's young, right? She's like 30 or something like that. She's a young person. But she's 196 in dog years. She's feels like she's lived way, because the way that was it like 7 years or something like that? I think it's like one. I think it's 7 years for dogs. She feels like she's lived way more life than she actually has because of the things she's been through. She says right after, "I've seen enough. I've seen it all." I gotta shout that all dogs go to heaven. They say all dogs go to heaven. If you know, you know. Halsey obviously knows. Grew up on those like VHSs. There's like multiple parts, like at least 3 of them, I think. Watched them all as a kid. Loved them. Used to absolutely love the All Dogs Go to Heaven. It's like kind of like because this song is very morbid, but All Dogs Go to Heaven is like kind of a wholesome animated series. He's like, because I spoke to the way that like she probably is kind of great impersonating herself to fit into and mold herself to be somebody just for somebody else. It kind of speaks to the dog thing too, like being on a leash. I've been a really good dog. Can I come inside? Like I behave the way you asked me to do, like the way we try and train dogs and form them and into the way that we prefer. It's the way it sounds like that's exactly what she's doing in relationships and companionships and whatever it might be in her life. And that goes back into like not being who she really is with the ego thing. And you talk about the what did she say? Tell the 3 people, an evil girl left dying in a ditch. Tell the 3 people who asked that I'm in a better place. That goes right back to the funeral line. Like, who's gonna really be there for me because nobody's even asking about me. I do wonder when she was going through her health issues too, right? Where there's mortality is like a real thing on this project so far, and I do wonder who she was hearing from or who she wasn't hearing from more specifically while she was really going through it. Some of these, Great Impersonator, I know a lot of these inspirations she drew are from artists of a different era, going way back. And I hear that already, particularly in that Dog Ear song. That feels like, of an era decades ago, right? I can hear that in that song, certainly. And I love Halsey's openness to sort of, not defy herself to one genre, right? Someone who is such a massive pop star. Obviously, the best example of that is the most recent project, If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. And I can even feel like some of the remnants of that project moving into this album so far with that last song, Dog Ears more specifically, but I can just feel like her artistic freedom, having been able to create that most recent project, and moving on, not so much feeling, any ties to having to make a certain sound. All right, Letter to God is track 4. 1974 in parenthesis, and there's multiple, I noticed there's multiple tracks on this album that say Letter to God, so I'm going to try and keep that in mind. I know that she was born after these years, 74, 83. I'm assuming there's some more. I just can't see the rest of the tracks right now, but yeah, I wonder what that means since it predates her existence.
I don't wanna go to grandma's, so I'm quiet on the drive. I saw a deer that must have gotten hit. It made me start to cry. Did he have a mom and dad? And do they argue just like mine? Did he have a little brother that annoyed him all the time? Was the boy I went to school with who had leukemia at 5? Now his parents gave him everything. They never yelled or cried. They never made him cut his hair because they're happy he survived. It was enough to be alive. Please God, I don't wanna be sick. I don't wanna hurt somebody who is alive. Please God, I don't wanna be loved. I wanna be somebody that they wanna get rid of.
Oh man, okay. Mortality, a theme in this project, and like this letter to God, and kind of how the whole song sounds like a conversation with God. When you kind of speak from the perspective of a child. We were saying we're in the car, we're going to grandma's. We're in the car, we're going to grandma's. It sounds like a kid speaking, right? And you see the deer, and you see a dead deer in the road, and this makes you start to cry, and you don't know a whole lot about life and death, so you're just kind of experiencing these very raw and new feelings in real time. So you're crying over the deer, and you're starting to wonder if the deer had a little brother like you do that annoys you all the time. Did the deer want to be a grown up? Did the deer like to climb trees? Like maybe you were your little brother. It's just very based in like something we can all relate to. Having this innocence, this childlike innocence of just wondering about the world and experiencing things in real time and reflecting on when we felt those things for the first time. But yeah, and then going into this one kid that was really sick in school, and their parents. It sounds like Halsey's also speaking about some of the issues Halsey had growing up. She just wanted to be loved by her parents. The sick kid's parents weren't yelling and fighting, probably like her parents were. And it's because the sick kid's parents were just focused on their kid and just viewed life as a gift. And sounds like Halsey just wanted some of that. And as a kid, you don't, obviously, like, you grow up and you learn just how terrible things like leukemia are. You don't long for those things as an adult, obviously. But when you're a kid, it's like, oh, if that's what it takes for my parents to love me, then yeah, I want to be sick too. I don't want to have to clean my room, or, I want my parents to not fight too. I want my parents to just kind of focus on me and love me and get it over with quick. Okay, I'm really interested in the rest of these letters to God and kind of building on this theme potentially, or kind of seeing where it all goes. Okay, let's go to Panic Attack. Been there.
Carry sadness that my brain cannot yet see. And I've been
Is this the Stevie Nicks? I know I think she did Stevie Nicks as one of the impersonations. Is
keeping score, and I don't know if I can see you anymore.
man, my body's keeping score. I mean, my optimism's getting sore. That speaks to her past experience with partners. Like, my spirit's been broken. That speaks to her past experience with, you know, being hurt and just being done wrong. And like she said her in the dog song, right? Like, bending to the will and of these people. And I've been a good boy. Can I come inside? Like, I've been a good dog. Can I come inside? And then, like, my body's keeping score. Like, I can't really take much more. Like, my body is keeping score. It's keeping track of all of these situations I'm in. Like, this is bad for my physical health as well. You know, there's a trickle down from the mental health to the physical health when it comes to all of these just bad partners for me. And like, the body's keeping score also ties in with the whole top of the song, like, holding on to memories in my stomach and my teeth, my shoulders are being burdened by the weight of my mistakes. And she could be speaking to like these past relationships being mistakes as well. And that also, again, it ties into the, it's like, I can't figure it out right now, but there are feelings here. So I'm taking you home. Whatever this turns out to be, like, my body will keep score of it again. But, you know, hopefully it is love and not the panic attack that these past partners. I know I said panic attacks can be tied into good things as well, but she's probably more so speaking to like the panic attacks these past partners have given her, these mistakes. The getting to the point of like going through experiences and relationships where you're having panic attacks as a result of, you know, this person. It's tough. That's tough. I like the song. There's something about it's very old school, of another era. I do wonder if it is the Stevie Nicks impersonation part. All right, I'm gonna go to the end, track 6.
Every couple of years now, the doctor says I'm sick. Pulls out a brand new bag of tricks and then they lay it on me. When I met you, I thought I was damaged goods. Had a fucked up childhood.
And she just kind of shed some more light on the Letter to God track with the had a fucked up childhood, damaged goods.
Had a fucked up childhood, and there's poison in my brain and in my blood. If you knew it was the end of the world, could you love me like a child?
I mean, poison in my brain and in my blood has got to speak to literally her. She's talking about her health issues very explicitly here in this track. And poison in my brain and my blood probably speaks to those health issues, not particularly the I was lupus, leukemia. There was something else too. I don't remember. It was like a longer diagnosis that I read that she had, and I don't remember what it was called. But I know there's like a lot of health issues, and recently, I know that it's something that she opened up about on the internet. And yeah, this whole song is opening up about it. Every couple years, a doctor says it. So it's just like every couple. I did see that where she said she wants her 30s to be like her 20s, and she strives for, you know, not being sick anymore because she spent all of her 20s being essentially perpetually sick. And again, this song is speaking to that, where a doctor says I'm sick every couple years now, brand new bag of tricks, and they lay it on me. So it probably is like something different every couple years. And when you say every couple years, it sounds like it's something that is lasting for a long time, and maybe you see a little bit of light in the tunnel, and boom, it's something new all over again. And that's awful. It's obviously awful. And you speak to like having a fucked up childhood, going right into your you go from the fucked up childhood right into your 20s, and now you're always sick. And yeah, that's gonna make you feel like damaged goods for sure. And the poison in my brain and my blood, again, going back to the literal diagnoses, and then you find somebody at that point. How do you maneuver through, you know, that might not be a panic attack, might actually be love? How do you maneuver through that? while you've gone through all these things that you've gone through. Also, she's got a child as well, so we can't forget that.
Cause once my God destroys the flesh, then there's the flood. If you knew it was the end of the world, could you love me like a child? Could you hold me in the dark?
God destroys the flesh, then there's the flood, and then you follow that with, even if you knew it was the end of the world, could you love me like a child? And I kind of speaking to her needs there a little bit, like, could you hold me in the dark? Could you love me like a child? Not only is this like this unconditional love, but it's this love without judgment. Also, I feel like asking to be loved like a child also speaks to the issues you had with your parents growing up.
In the water there's a doctor who didn't listen to my claim. What a shame, he's circling the drain.
She's saying that one of the doctors, I'm sure she's had a run-in with many doctors, one of the doctors who paid no mind to her and these issues she was going through are in this flood, this end of the world. They're just like circling the drain, like, goodbye, good riddance, you did me wrong, you did not help me in any way.
Joke was always mine, cause I'm racing against time. And I know it's not the end of the world, but could you pick me up at 8? Cause my treatment starts today.
It's just real. It's just real. You meet someone and it's like, the joke was always mine because I'm racing against time. My health issues have me kind of seeing the writing on the wall, and I've got doctors telling me this and that, and I don't really truly know what the projected life expectancy for me is with everything I've been dealing with. So the writing's kind of on the wall in that way, and I really am racing against time. Like, I just don't know. Yet you would say, when I met you, I'd say I would never die. I'll never die. I love bringing it down to the reality of, like, it's not the end of the world. There's a little, there's a silver lining here, some positivity. I've met someone, and they bring this joy into my life. They love me like this kid. They hold me in the dark. They make me want to live. That's what it is. They make me want to live. So could you pick me up at 8? Because I got to get this treatment. Because I got to keep living. Because I've got things in life that I want to live for. I mean, the song called The End, speaking about, like, the end of life, of the world, of Halsey's world, essentially. I love bringing it back to finding a reason to want to keep going. Okay, man. Wow, this is 6 tracks in, and there's just mortality is such a common theme, and it's just also real. It's also real. Okay, I Believe in Magic, track 7. It's almost hard to, I don't know how much of a response I'm having to the music of everything. Outside of Ego, which was a banger. Just a fucking banger. And Panic Attack too. I liked Panic Attack a lot musically. But overall, like, 6 tracks in, I don't know how much of a response I'm having to the actual music of everything. And it's so hard with listening to these albums like this for the first time, with you guys on camera live, because this is just so personal. And every word matters so much that it's really hard to just have, like, any sort of visceral response to anything musically or sonically when someone is just pouring their heart and their life out like this and sharing it with us in such a personal matter. And I have so much respect for that. Again, it's just like, I feel like I'm probably not giving a lot as far as the music part of it all goes. It doesn't mean it's bad. I haven't heard anything that's, like, bad. Only Living Girl in LA was interesting. And I'm really curious to see if I'm going to love or hate that musically going back to it because of how different it was. Other than that, everything's been good to, like, obviously Ego and Panic Attack. are my fave so far, musically speaking. But yeah, like even the end, it's just such a somber, morbid up until the end when you get some of that, optimism, acoustic track that you're just really more so dialed into like what she's talking about than anything else. Letter to God, the same thing. So I just want to get that out there. This is really all about the words and the storytelling right now. All right, let's go to I Believe in Magic, track 7.
My son is almost 3. He used to look just like his dad, but right now he looks just like me. I wonder if the world will treat him any better than it treated me. Please tell my boy I love him so. Please tell the world I have to grow before I go alive. I started to believe in love the day I met my little twin. I think I might start trying because I haven't been. My mama's getting old. Well, it's contagious and you catch it like a cold. My dad and I will share a laugh at all of her mistakes. But that alliance didn't save me from her fate. And I remind myself a time will come when he sees me turn gray and realize it's too late, like I did with my mother. So now I tell her to her face, with all my roots above and all my branches down below. Please tell my mom I love her so. Please tell the world I have to grow before I go. And I just wanted you to know that I believe in magic, and I still believe in sin. I still believe in heaven if they'll never let me in.
Yeah, I really like this song. Just I really appreciate her ability to speak about how becoming a mom for her has just given her so much perspective, not just appreciation for the world, not just so much life, but perspective on her relationship with her parents, newfound urgency for anyone with not doing their best maybe, and then also poor relationship with their parents. This one's gonna hit hard. All right, let's next track is Another Letter to God, 1983, so 9 years after the first letter.
He had track marks on his arms, but had the most angelic face. I watched my friends die before 21, and now I'm 28. And now I'm the one with the needles in my arms and in my legs. I'm making jokes about the blood tests, and I'm planning my estate. This could all just be an answer to those prayers that came delayed.
Oh, is she saying that is she saying now that she's like the boyfriend that was on drugs but was just beautiful person, beautiful man, she couldn't help herself, right? But now she's the one with needles in her arms and legs, but it's as a result of these doctor's visits and getting treatment and trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Making jokes about the blood test, planning my estate, just sort of like, planning for the end. I don't want to blame the child, but I have to speculate. Is it from the first prayer when she was a kid and wanted to be sick like the other kid so she could just get some damn love in her life? And that's why she's saying like it came delayed. She didn't get it when she was a kid, but now she's getting it later on in life now that she's an adult.
If this could all just be an answer to those prayers that came delayed, because I never would have said it if I knew I'd have to wait. Please God, I don't wanna be sick, and I don't wanna hurt, so get it over with quick. Please God, I don't wanna be loved. Don't wanna be somebody that you're trying to get rid of. Please.
She's such a masterful songwriter. The way she flipped it with the "Please God, I don't want to be sick," and I think it was similar in the first one, like, "Please, I want to be sick, but get it over with quick." I think she was talking about her life or whatever. But now she's reached the point where she loves life, right? She's had her kid. She literally talked about that, and I believe in magic. But the stacking of these tracks is also really starting to hit me too. The ordering of everything. After my little crisis in the last song. But yeah, this hurts. This song hurts because she's dealing with real health issues, and she's reached the point in life where she actually is starting to enjoy this life of hers. And now she's got to deal with these severe health issues, and it's like, no, that prayer I made, 20 years ago or whatever. No, please, I'm sorry. Don't do it to me now. I actually get it over with quick. Get the sickness over with quick. I want to be loved. I don't want to be someone you're trying to get rid of on this earth here. All right, let's move on to Hometown on track 9.
He died in the summertime in a hot box car with a seatbelt around his neck and a needle in his arm. We would smoke out in the parking lot behind convenience shops. Somewhere in the clouds, Davey's running for a touchdown. The crowd appears and his mother cheers. He's waving from the field, and he's evergreen at 17 for the last 11 years. Like the others from my high school, all those sad suburban ghosts trapped in a cross next to a highway while the rest of us get old.
I think the letter to God, she might have talked about her friends dying, growing up and her friends dying, or did she say it in this song? Because in this song, she's now speaking about whether it's Davey or other people in her high school who are now those sad suburban ghosts trapped in a cross next to the highway while the rest of us get old. You think about, it's just an incredible visual. You think about the driving on the highway, and you see those crosses with maybe some floral arrangements or photos or whatever it might be. People that have paid their respect and put him on the highway.
The American dream means staying young forever. Years will pass in science class, and I might forget your name. But when the crow's feet come, the kingdom come, well, you'll always look the same.
Clearly country inspired. I actually really like the songwriting, like this entire just the idea of a song about your hometown, about the people that have passed, moving on from your hometown, about aging versus death as well, because obviously there's a lot of this song is about death. And speak about the American dream means staying young forever. You come around and say, when the crow's feet come, the kingdom come. Well, you'll always look the same. It's really great, a greatly written song. She's clearly, her songwriting is just second to none. Her pen and her ability to just leave me feeling and thinking and reflecting on a song, even when it's not a song I particularly might not love so much, just as far as the sound, and just wanting to revisit it just as a song itself and listen to it. Other songs, I don't even have a thought either way. It's like, oh, I gotta come back to this because I'm just locked up in this storytelling from Halsey. With this one, it's more so, I don't know, it might not be my favorite, but that's what's so great about Halsey, though, is that like you can't not respect the pen of everything at the very least. So, okay, that's Hometown. We're gonna move on to I Never Loved You, track 10.
Surgeon said she had a hole in her heart, but it wasn't her fault. It was there from the start, trying to love you through an open wound. 'Cause everything I put inside there just fell right through, and I hold the parts together with some pressure and glue. And you're running in slow-mo to the hospital room. You can donate all the money to somebody in pain, and you can rest your head down and not feel any shame. I never loved you, never loved you in vain. Told the off screaming on the night you were caught. You left me standing in the parking lot. You never listened and I'm terrible too. You kept on driving far away from the issues. If you stopped, I would've kissed you. I never loved you. I never loved you.
I really like the piano in this song. I feel like that's something that just matches Halsey really well. You know, Halsey's vocal style. Maybe she's, again, just projecting her death and what she's leaving behind to somebody that she had some issues with. And that's where, you know, you talk about you can rest your head and not feel any shame. Because when you do lose someone, it's hard not to think about the regrets that you have in all your interactions and everything in your history with them. I never loved you in vain is kind of the key part of all of that, obviously. And yeah, you never listened. I'm terrible too. You kept on driving far away from the issues. And you drove off screaming on the night you were caught. You left me standing in the parking lot. It's clearly like you told the nurses that we argued a lot. Like this clearly they've got issues, and that speaks to that. You know, you don't have to feel any shame, and it does feel like it projects to the end of Halsey's life potentially. But then again, I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to speak too much on it. But I do feel like if I did have a full understanding, it might really destroy me. So I also feel like maybe I'm potentially trying not to have that full understanding, to distance myself emotionally, because I'm already feeling like, man, she's already got me a couple times in this album, and we have so much left to go to. But yeah, all right, let's keep on going. That was I Never Loved You. The next track is Darwinism. Darwinism, interesting. Let's hear Halsey's song about evolution.
There's lots of fish out in the pond, in the oceans and the rivers and in all the waterfalls. But if I'm made for land and not the sea at all, what if I'm from outer space? And I have fire in my bones and in my veins. I let it show and scare my suitors far away. Say that God makes no mistakes, but I might disagree.
This is a lot to take in already, because to really just question your existence is a lot. And I feel like that's what's happening here. Since Darwinism is a theory of evolution, and when you talk about God makes no mistakes, I might disagree. I do feel like Halsey is full on questioning her existence and her place in this world. And did I evolve from fish in the pond, or, you know, some creature on land? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Am I from outer space? You know, like, do I have fire in my bones, in my veins? Because that's scaring the suitors far away. I gotta find me one of these Neanderthals. Leave them traumatized with the visions of its glow behind my face. Just speaking to like how different it's almost like she's an alien, essentially, and calling herself a mistake, and yeah, just questioning her existence and place in this world is something that, like, if you've ever felt like an outsider, I feel like you can very much relate to what she's getting at in a lot of this song already.
You all learned something that I fear I'll never know. You all grew body parts I fear I'll never grow. You all know something that I don't. What if I'm just cosmic dust? Put me in a metal box that's bound to rust. And I was born all by myself. It's not unlikely that I'll die that way as well.
I just spoke about the piano in the last track, and I got like a full-on one in this one. I love the arrangement of this. I love the music of this. There's something about this It's very eerie. Obviously, I mean, Halsey's questioning her entire existence, the entire song. Just feels like I said outsider earlier. It's what it is. She feels completely on the outside. Everyone has somebody except me. Like, everyone has like another half, and she feels like there is no one else like her in this way that makes her feel very excluded from society. Like, everyone, like, though you grew body parts I'll never grow, you know something I don't, you learn something I'll never know, and she doesn't feel included in this world by many measures. And that's a totally a thing that I feel like people who just feel excluded, who feel like outsiders, who don't fully understand their identity, their purpose, their reason, whatever that might be, are definitely struggling with a lot of the themes of this song for sure. Feel like you're destined to die by yourself, because no one's ever quite fully understood you, and you continue to not fully understand yourself. And there's something about the arrangement and the music of this that is just, I don't know, really sits with me. It's very cinematic. Like, I feel like I was watching, like, I had this, like, I was reading a book. Like, I kind of had this thing going in my head where I was envisioning this in a cinematic way, like in a film, in a movie. Everything's quite slow moving, very Christopher Nolan. I don't know, I almost need Halsey to link up with Christopher Nolan and create the music video. Maybe not Christopher Nolan, maybe someone who's got history of working with more women. But yeah, just like someone to put this vision to life, because it just felt like it belongs like on a screen somewhere. This one stands out to me as far as that goes. Like, again, as far as like a casual listen, I don't know. It is really cool though, because everything in this is so different. You know, this is not like any other pop album I'll just throw on. You know, every song is very different from another, and very different from whatever my expectation of any song I'd press play on would be, especially in the pop world.
Spent years becoming cool, and in one single second you can make a decade of my efforts disappear. I always knew I was a martyr and that Jesus was one too, but I was built from special pieces that I learned how to unscrew, and I can always reassemble to fit perfectly for you or anybody that decides that I'm of you.
Oh shit. Really like this song. Wow. Okay, let's get that out the way. This is just a jam so far. I really like the song itself. I feel like I've spoken about her kind of touching on this a little bit in what track was it? Dog Years, I feel like. And in another place on the album as well, but now she's really breaking it down. Right? She's really breaking it down. I was built from special pieces that I learned how to unscrew, and I can always reassemble to fit perfectly for you or anybody that decides that I'm of use. Spent years becoming cool, in one single second you can make a decade of my efforts disappear. You know, I'm just trying to act cool, trying to be cool out here, but now all of a sudden all that shit is torn down in a single second, and now I'm rearranging those pieces to fit perfectly for you, or anyone that decides I'm of use. And that just speaks to kind of what she was saying in that song, the dog song. You call it the dog song, but the dog song, yeah, where she'll just form herself to be whatever someone else needs of her, you know, at their convenience. Yeah, this is just already going hard lyrically and sonically.
Where do I go in the process when I'm just an apparatus? I've inspired platinum records, and I mined a couple diamonds from the stories in my head, but I'm reduced to just a body here in someone else's bed.
Holy okay, there is a lot of it's all over this album. This self-worth thing, you know, like trying to figure out and like bring just come to terms and to grips with like what your self-worth is, and say like being reduced to just a body here in someone else's bed. Meanwhile, I've inspired platinum records. I've been all over the fucking world. I've mined a couple diamonds from the stories in my head. I'm fucking rich because of the stories in my head. I've mined some diamonds. Like, they have earned me a great life. All these albums and all these songs I've written across my life, all from the stories I've mined from. I love the way she writes that, by the way. I'm reduced to just a body here in someone else's bed because I've stripped myself of all the things that truly matter to me at my core. I don't even fucking know who I am, really, because I've molded myself to be someone that you want me to be. And here I am lying in this bed having no idea who I am. Damn, Halsey, this is up there. This is up there with any track on this album so far.
To decorate your life, and when you're done, you can't discard me like the others always do. And I will nurse my wounds until another artist needs me.
Okay, that's oh fuck, Jesus, Halsey, you did your big thing with that one. That's it's an incredible song. I love it. Just hits. It just hits so hard from opening to ending. It hits you so hard. It builds and builds, and it's not like a flat hit. You know, it's gradually hitting harder and harder as the song goes on, and she uses her not only just the instrumentation of the song and its rock inspirations certainly, but the way she uses her voice, man, the screaming and the shouting at the end of the track, and even within the track, not just the screaming and shouting, but building up to that point, the kind of whispering, aggressive whisper she was doing right here. And then you just get to that ending in the show. Yeah, it's just so much emotion. I was gonna say aggression, but it's just real emotion. It's everything pouring out of her. It's the exhaustion of living this way, and you know, being someone who reassembles to fit. Think about like falling apart every time, and then reassembling for somebody new, and then falling apart afterwards, and then reassembling once again in a different way for once again somebody new. It's just who you are. It's what you've come to know. It's the only thing you've come to know in your life, and I feel like that gives to so much of these other tracks where she, like in Darwinism, where she doesn't really know her place in this world, and other tracks too where she is just so kind of lost a bit, right? And just searching. And that's what it makes the Magic track hit that. And I don't want to go back to the crisis I had in that song, but I believe in magic. It makes that song hit that much harder when you talk about reaching a point in life where life suddenly is worth it, you know, and living, and so much perspective and realization that also comes along with, you know, obviously being a mother and all those things. But what just an incredible moment. This is a really good album so far. I'm really enjoying myself, and I'm getting a little annoyed because I saw a couple reviews, let's call it, of this project. I didn't watch the reviews. I just saw things online from just classic. It's just classic. It's classic. People don't fucking listen. You know, there's no more empathy or listening of any kind, and elitism, and there's no humanity when we listen to music anymore, and it's exhausting. I don't want to waste any time, honestly, on that. I'm trying to turn a new leaf when it comes to wasting my time on those things. Let's just live in the now and appreciate what we have in front of us. The next track is Arsonist. I don't even want to. I want to keep talking about Lonely as the Muse, honestly, but we gotta keep going. This video's gonna be long enough. Arsonist.
Arsonist, your human starter kit came incomplete. My apologies, arsonist. You loved me. I'm glued to a building that's on fire, handcuffed to a narcissistic lie. Arsonist, burning down the world to feel its heat. The arsonist doesn't feel the embers on his feet. My apologies, arsonist. You loved me. You built a small container to keep all of me confined. I am water, I am shapeless, I am fluid, I'm divine. Somebody who loved me for the way that I'm designed.
This person, this arsonist, right? This person that destroys things and kind of gets off on destroying things, burning things down, is one of these examples of somebody that she probably disassembled herself and rearranged however they needed. You know, where she says they built a small container to keep her confined, and she was in that container confined because she says, like, I'm water, I'm shapeless, I'm fluid, I fit right in that container. For, you know, likely for you, but somebody will love me for the way that I'm designed. Like, that may be what I do, and that may be who I am, and it's almost like an accepting of that because it's just been who she is for so long. But it doesn't mean that she can't be loved as that person, which is also really interesting to think about, reaching that point, because there is a level of self-acceptance. I spoke about self-awareness in this project as well when we talk about an ego track. This, like, arsonist burning down the world to feel its heat. It's what, again, it's what an arsonist would do. You know, to feel the heat, like, you get off on it, like, you want to feel that heat. But she's taking it a step further with burning down the world, like just destroying everything around you. I would assume that includes Halsey. I would assume that includes the world that both of these two inhabit as in a relationship. The arsonist doesn't feel the embers on his feet, so that world has burned down, and they feel no regret, no shame, no sympathy. You know, the things that they have done to hurt Halsey, who's a victim in the burning of this world. They feel nothing. The embers that are on their feet, the remains of this burnt world they've destroyed, they just don't feel any of it.
Leave me sleeping in the dark so you can hide away your blade, then lock the door and trap me right here in the blaze. Arsonist, burning down the world to feel its heat.
Alchemy's not love. You're playing God. Hid away your blade while I slept in the dark, and you locked the door and trapped me here in the blaze. And I said, you know, this person burned down the world that they both lived in, burned down Halsey in the process, playing God. Your human starter kit came incomplete. Something was missing with the human starter kit that we all come with. Something big was missing in yours.
Did you know the father's DNA stays inside the mother for 7 years? Have you ever waited 7 years? Ever wish you were still asleep? Do you ever wish you wouldn't wake up?
This is very, if I can't have love, I want power. Like, as far as the darkness of it all, and it reminds me of the literal film that she dropped with that album, and just the darkness of that entire project. visually, sonically, all of it. I watched that in theaters when she dropped it. I think prior to the album coming out, and I feel like this could have just fit right into that. Life of the Spider Draft, track 14.
Feel like a monster, and it doesn't help that you will treat me like I've got the venom in my teeth. 'Cause I'm the spider in your bathroom, I'm the shadow on the tile. I came for shelter from the cold, and I thought I'd stay a while. You kill me when I least expect it. God, how could I even think of daring to exist? Looking just like this, I'm hideous. I'm the spider in your kitchen, weaving webs through every year. And I worked real hard on the last one, but the last one got me here. And I know you hate the sight of me. I haunt you when you're fast asleep, 'cause I'm the spider on the ceiling and you're nothing but a guy. You don't like it when I cry. You would break me if you tried. And you will, because I dare to be alive.
Okay, wow. So this is, I mean, I've mentioned poetry at least once or twice throughout this video. Halsey, an incredible poet. This is giving a lot of poetry. I mean, the draft part of it, and it feels like a draft in the way it's mixed or lack thereof. And it just feels like just a raw poem. You know, she sat down and wrote a poem, said, I need to put this into a song. I'm just going to read it as is. The whole spider correlation, you know, comparing herself to a spider, it's, you know, just calling herself an inconvenience. You know, how dare I exist? Because that kind of is, I totally get it. You know, and I say that as someone who, I'm probably the target audience. Because, I mean, the target audience particularly is this person who made her feel like an inconvenience. Who there sounds like there might have been some abuse in there. I mean, when you literally say you don't like it when I cry, you would break me if you would break me if you tried, and you will because I dare to be alive. So again, just my existence is such an inconvenience to you. I'm like that spider we see on the wall. We're like, oh, kill that, go kill that spider. How dare it exist in my home? How dare it just find its way in here? And the thing about spiders too is they're, you know, as someone again who spent his life fearful of spiders, of course I'm aware of the talk of spiders where, you know, they do more good than harm. You know, they keep the other insects out. They're relatively harmless. There definitely are like some venomous spiders, but those are like in specific areas. Although if you think deeply into it, you could tie that into like the poison in her body, but she's probably not going that deep with it. I totally get where she's coming from, calling herself an inconvenience like a spider, and particularly in the situation that she's in. But that's just so low, man. That's as low in existence, sharing a life with someone who, and feeling like you're looked at as a spider, right? Like as opposed to a partner, a human, you know, whatever it might be. No, none of those things. A fucking spider. I love the webs lines too. Weaving webs through every year. I worked real hard on the last one. The last one got me here. Just speaking to like the obstacles in her life and how hard it's been just to get to this point, because it speaks to like the struggle she's had mentally and physically, and what an accomplishment it is just to have gotten to this point. But I'm still like I'm a spider still. It's webs I've had to weave, not me like walking to this point as a human. It's me as a spider, because that's what I am to you. Okay, there's so much to say about all these songs. Let's go on to Hurt Feelings, track 15.
Walking through the door and both my eyes will find the floor, and I will search my brain to find something I might get yelled at for. He'll come in with a frown and tell me sit your ass right down, or he might get his kicks from joking that he's just playing around. And in a few years I will leave, but I'll perpetually believe that any man who says he loves me is hiding something up his sleeve.
Oh man, okay. It's the man. The way that parents interact with their children throughout life. It's so important because trauma happens. It exists. These interactions. It's almost better not existing because when you exist and these are their interactions that we have. Like, he'll walk through the door. Halsey just expects the worst. He'll walk through the door. Both my eyes will find the floor, and I'm searching my brain for something I might get yelled for. I might get yelled at for. You probably haven't done anything. You probably haven't done anything but mind your business, and I don't know. But no, you're so consumed with being used to being yelled at, scolded, spoken to in a negative manner of some sort, an aggressive manner, an abusive manner, whatever it might be. And they even, comes in with a frown, says, sit your ass right down. But he gets his kicks from joking. He's just playing around. But that's not playing around to me. Like, that's hurt. That's affecting me because now I'm, now I'm weary of anyone else who comes into my life and assuming that they've got something up their sleeve if they say they love me, because I'm used to being interacted with negatively. I'm not used to receiving that love. That's why I prayed for it in my first letter to God. And I'm very much looking forward to the last one. I see it's coming up too.
No, my father isn't dead, but it don't feel like he's still here. It's strange now that he's gray and getting older by the day, and my eyes tell me that he's harmless despite what my heart has to say.
Ouch.
So maybe just forget, maybe move on, don't regret. And that girl will be a problem only if you let her in electric bed. Oh, but I can't forget her. Thought that it was my fault, and now sometimes I still do. You didn't chase me through the park, so now I'm chasing after you.
Hey, this is a really incredibly written song about this, and also musically the song represents a lot of how I feel about this album in general, where it's just really hard to have any sort of say on how I feel about this album musically. For the most part, there are a handful of tracks that have like really gotten me just as songs as a whole, where I'm there for the whole thing and banging out and like, yeah, we're having a good fucking time. This is a great song. But this song represents more so how I feel about the whole thing in general, where I just can't not be locked in on every single word she's saying, and less so the musicality of everything, the melody of everything, the song of everything. And I say that to say I'm locked into like this incredibly written storytelling reflection from Halsey about childhood trauma, about the way you look at your parents years later while still having those memories and living with the effects of what they did to you when you were younger, of trying to separate yourself. Blood's thicker than water. Blood is thick, but water is forever. I want to be that water. Like I don't want to, this generational trauma that's been inflicted on me. I want to separate myself from that somehow, in any way that I can. That girl, I left her back home, but I cannot forget her. You didn't chase me through the park, so now I'm chasing after you. I feel like that just very much speaks to not being played with as a kid again. Now I'm chasing after you. I don't know if that's her saying she like is drawn to partners that are like her father in this very unhealthy way. Now I'm chasing after you. I'm not 100% sure, but ultimately it is an entire song about that childhood trauma and generational trauma, because it's now she's living with the results of all of it later, like in her current life, and it's still affecting her very much so. Right there, my father isn't dead, but It doesn't feel like he's still here. He's gray, getting older by the day. My eyes tell me he's harmless because he's older, he's gray, you know, he's not as physically intimidating, whatever it might be. My eyes tell me, yeah, he's harmless. But my heart has something else to say. You know, my heart has been through a lot with this guy, and it tells me like, no, you should still, there's some harm that can still be done here. Halsey's really letting us in on this album. I can't believe there's more tracks. Can't believe there's 4 more tracks. I feel like I already have a pretty clear understanding of the things that she's gone through, not only over the course of her life, but kind of where she's at now. And I'm very grateful. I'm always very grateful when an artist of this talent and ability lets you in to this extent, because they don't have to. But Halsey's different. Okay, the next track is Lucky. I do remember this was the Britney Spears one, right? I think it was the first single.
Everybody get in line to meet the girl who flew too high. Does it all just to be liked by strangers that she met online. Did it all to be included. My self-loathing so deep-rooted in a child's unrecruited. Truth is I'm not suited for it. When I die, I won't have time to spend.
Oh man, I love those. Wow. I don't love it for her. Obviously, this is an awful way to live. I did it all to be included. My self-loathing, so deep-rooted. Yeah, I hate all that for it. It ties into so much of this album. Again, the placement of these tracks is also shot because I'm big on album structure, cohesive storytelling. If you have a concept, if that's what you're going for in general, not every album's built the same. Some albums just good vibe, have a good time. Don't think too hard. This very much has to be structured in a certain way, and she did it perfectly because as I go track by track by track, there's references throughout that you can look back on, like, oh, that makes that sheds light on that makes that make that much more sense, that ties into that. I'm understanding and unlocking more and more things because of where Halsey placed all these tracks. So this opening was already making perfect sense. Get in line to meet the girl who flew too high. Does it all just to be liked by strangers that she met online. Again, to her career, right? That speaks to what she was saying. So it was way earlier on in the album when she spoke about missing when she made music just because it felt right. Missing the part of her career where it was before everything. Right, where it was before just worrying about being liked, worrying about success and numbers and all that. You know, she had so much success. That's the flying so high, and now it's just you can't help but let the part of all of it where you just want to be liked by the strangers you met online, the millions of people. They are strangers to Halsey. They're fans, but they are also strangers, and. Yeah, did it all to be included. My self-loathing so deep-rooted. Tremendous. I just also love the rhyme scheme of all of it.
When I die, I won't have time to spend my money.
All right, so yeah, already when I die, I won't have time to spend my money. So all of these things that I do throughout my career, these stories that I'm mining in my mind to mine diamonds, you know, all the money that I've made throughout my career as a result of wanting to be liked. Probably speaking to some of the bigger hits that she's written as well, which is interesting because this album is not that. This album is not Without Me, right? It's not the songs that she's created that are huge, that are going to be like huge, massive songs that are going to earn her the money, specifically that some of the bigger singles have earned her in the past, where she's admitting to, with some of those older songs, trying to make songs that would get her liked by more people, that would just be bigger hits. That did better on radio play and all that, and streams and views and all that, because it just got her more liked. And now she's saying, like, I want to have time to spend all that money that I made making all that music and those big hits, but I hope that you still love me because I did it all to be liked and loved. All the self-loathing so deep. This is fucking tremendous, man.
I hope that you still love me.
Yeah, so great.
I'm so lucky, I'm a star, but I cry
I'm still struggling with it. And as I sit here and film this, Liam Payne passed away, and again, I just don't want to spend too much time on it because it's something that I've had a hard time with, a really hard time with. Shed a lot of tears and just had a lot of internal dialogue about, and still almost doesn't feel real at times. But you think about someone who also had all the success in the world, right? Massive success. It speaks to some of what Halsey's writing. They're not obviously not the same situation, but it speaks to some of what Halsey's talking about here with having all this success, being a star. Like, I'm so lucky I'm a star, but I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I need to find happiness outside of this music. And I just think of somebody who struggled with that and Liam and probably a similar way to Halsey. While obviously, like I said, very different situations, but there are some similarities that you can tie in, I think, right here where you do talk about trying to find their footing in life, trying to find their meaning in life beyond a one direction, right? Beyond like all the massive success and adoration from all these strangers. Once again, there's a lot of loneliness going on at your human core because that doesn't completely define you. There's just a lot more to life than that.
I'm a star, but I cry in my lonely heart, thinking if there's nothing missing in my life, then why do these tears come at night? I left the doctor's office full of tears, became a single mom at my premiere.
Wow.
And I told everybody I was fine for a whole damn year.
So it makes sense that this was the lead single. It's very biographical. It's also very like, hey, catch up with me. It's been a while. I got a lot to tell you guys. The shaved my head 4 times because I wanted to, and then I had to do it most recently because of the diagnosis that I've been dealing with, the health issues I've been dealing with. I thought I'd changed so much nobody would even notice it. And nobody did. Left the doctor's office full of tears, like, obviously, with the diagnosis and how heavy that news is. Became a single mom at my premiere, talking about her breakup with father of her child. Was lying for the whole damn year about being fine. This is a real catch-up, this song, with, everyone listening to the song. So it makes a lot of sense this was the lead single. I almost wish that I'm actually a little regretful that I didn't listen to the song when I came out, now that I'm listening to it now, because I feel like it does a lot of work to just kind of catch us up, like, hey, this is where I'm at. Here's the album coming out, get ready for it, because I feel like I would have had a lot bigger idea of what was coming.
I'm a star, but I cry in my lonely heart, thinking if there's nothing missing in my life, then why do these tears come at night? Haven't you heard?
She's so lucky, haven't you heard? Meanwhile, you have no idea what's going on with me. You have no idea. It's, the way we perceive, the way we view things, and people seem all fine, and we as a society need to have so much more empathy for everybody. It's not just celebrities, it's everybody. You don't know what people are going through, man. Whatever it looks like, just don't assume. I really like this song. I love the Britney Spears song. I feel like this pays a real nice respect to that while also being its own thing. Like, obviously the melody, and there's a lot of similarities, but there's also some differences in the production, while also the whole story it's Halsey's whole story. It's so different from the Britney song, and it's very biographical from Halsey's standpoint. So I really like the song a lot, and songs like this make me way reconsider like waiting for the whole album to listen to these songs, because like I wish I had this song when it came out. All right, let's move on to The Last Letter to God, 1998. I don't understand the years, just because I still know that this is not. It makes sense that like in The Letter to God before she got older, like from 74 to 83. Like she got older because she got sick, and she regrets like asking for that when she was younger. But the years, like specifically, I don't get, because this is not her timeline in life. So yeah, I don't know what it means to go from 74 to 83 to 1998 now. But that aside, I'm enjoying like the mini story of the letter to God. Let's do the last one here.
Tell her the voice. What does mommy use the microphone for?
Oh.
For mommy singing. Yeah, for mommy singing. Please God or whoever. These days I get less calls cause no one wants to hear my voice. I miss the days when I was getting texts that I could just avoid. At home all about my lonesome with my little baby boy. And I watch him on the kitchen floor. He's playing with his toys. And I don't ever wanna leave him, but I don't think it's my choice. So I'm basking in these moments where I feel a shred of joy. Please God, oh you've gotta be sick. Why do you make it hurt, and why is it over so quick? Please God, I'm finally loved. I finally found somebody I don't wanna get rid of. This doesn't seem fair. I'm trying not to show it, but I'm terribly scared. Please God, oh whoever you are.
Yeah, I had a feeling the last one would take me out. I don't know. I had a feeling after listening to the middle one, the last one, I had a feeling the third one would be a real problem for me. Again, it's such a, she's so great. The way she flipped it once again, the please God, I don't want to, where is it? Please God. Oh, you've got to be sick. Why do you make it hurt? Why is it over so quick? Just the way she flipped it once again to fit the storytelling of this song, and how it's been a timeline, and this is all current. This is all current, and it's really heavy here because you're talking about the fragility of life. Obviously she's sick and she's going through a diagnosis and she's going through having some real health issues while being, and it makes me think of that Magic song, and I don't even want to break down. I'll have a full on breakdown if I start connecting the lines between all these songs. But to be in a place in life where you finally realize that you've got it good. Like you finally not realize, but you finally feel that way. You finally have things to look forward to. I'm basking in these moments where I feel a shred of joy because I don't know how much time I have left. And I really feel that right now. And I feel the pressure of that. And that's why it's like, please God, I'm screaming, you gotta be sick. Why is it over so quick? God, I'm finally loved. Why are you doing this to me? God or whoever you are, right? Because it starts as a kid where you just take on the beliefs of your parents or kind of whoever's around you. So it just is God, and that's it. And assuming those were the beliefs that you were raised on. And as you grow older, you grow into your own beliefs, and it might not be God. It might be whoever you are, whatever greater power there is. And I've reached a point in life where that might not be necessarily God to me, but I still do believe in something. I just don't really know what that is. So whoever you are, I'm really scared. I'm trying not to show it. I've got this baby boy, I can't really show that to him. I can't show that mom is scared of life ending for her. This isn't fair. And I felt this in my bones, And it's not even, for me personally, you know, I'm not dealing with any particular diagnosis or ailment of any sort. Certainly not on Halsey's level, but to feel, to go through so much of life feeling so much depression, so spending so much time in darkness, and starting to find a little bit of light, starting to feel a little bit of that light, starting to spend a little bit of time in that light, and basking in that light when you do feel it. For me personally, it really makes me start to think more about, again, the fragility of life, and just wanting this to, particularly, you know, after having trigger warning, but certainly after spending a lot of times in my life having thoughts of unaliving, not wanting to be here, just to get to a point where I want to be here right now. It really makes you think about how short this ride is. ISIS mode. All right, let's keep it on Halsey. The Great Impersonator, track 18. Let's go. Fuck.
Every single truth I sing once started as a lie. I promise that I'm fine, but then I redesign and put myself together like some little Frankenstein.
Some little Frankenstein. Yeah, so this is the great, this song's called The Great Impersonator. This is her bending herself to whatever situation is calling for.
As a story die with its narrator, surely it's forgotten sooner or later.
I like that.
Hope they spell my name right in the paper. And here lies the great impersonator.
Man, there's a lot of legacy talk in here as well. You know, when you think about your mortality and what you've done and what you've left behind, and there's definitely some of that going on in this album. And when you get to the point of the self-titled, the track-titled song in the album, The Great Impersonator, does the story die with its narrator? You know, if I die, does my story die too? It's forgotten, right? If I die, is my story just forgotten? Well, I hope they spell my name right in the paper. Perhaps think obituary, right? Whatever last story they write about me when I am gone. It's very interesting to hear her speak about these things, while also speaking about like being this great impersonator, this person who would just piece themselves, unpiece themselves and piece themselves, and whatever the situation it was and whatever was called for, and be this impersonator, like in all these instances, at which this whole album also, but like in this obviously cool nod to all of her influences as well.
Lying in a car crash, in a pile of broken glass. It's funny how it looks like glitter from the overpass. I'm in a pickup truck, the door is stuck, I'm sinking in the water, and the girl inside is waving, but the people just applaud her. This is a cry for help.
I mean, we can't, the visuals of like, it's a car crash and a pile of the broken glass as a result of the car crash, but it looked from the overpass, it looks like glitter. You see it and it looks like, that kind of speaks to what she was saying in Lucky, where everything seemed all right, but she was really going through it. It was all a lie. She was fucking going through it. Going the fuck through it. And from a distance, that all looked like glitter. But no, it was a car crash. If you zoomed in and actually knew what was really happening in her life, it was all a car crash. But from, you know, the perception of everyone else, just glitter. Halsey's life is glitter. Everything is great. You know, I'm just a celebrity living my best life. Like, no, I'm a human being, and it's been really hard for me specifically.
Calling for assistance.
And then the other line, I'm in a pickup truck that I'm sinking in the water in the car, and I'm like, help, help. But everyone thinks it's a show. They're just applauding her.
Does a story die with its narrator?
I love that.
Sure.
I love that. There's something very on display. I mean, in the lyrics, she speaks about being on display quite clearly, and not being seen for what's really the things that are really going on in her life, obviously. But there's something kind of circusy as well about the music and the production of the whole thing. It makes me, I see her, like, the album cover, I feel like fits in with this track very well in its production and its lyrics. And that's the title track, right? So that makes a lot of sense all around. And I love it. I think some of that too was really giving me that feel as well. Let's be honest, a pretty depressing 18-track run. Like, this is not like you're not gonna sit through this album and have a happy old time. You're just not. And I didn't expect that, but I don't know if I expected it to be as kind of morbid as it was. And I'm happy that it was, because it's the truth. I want the truth, especially from someone like Halsey. If she's not giving me the truth, then she's not doing what she does. She's not being honest and true to who she is as an artist. Which is interesting, because there is so much kind of a lack of identity in places, and I feel like that is a lot of her identity, is to wear her heart on her sleeve in her music, put it all out there, in her music specifically, especially, right? Because if it's non-music, then she is withholding things from these strangers, like her fans, the general audience that she speaks to, like in Lucky, when she says, you don't really know what was going on with me. Well, now that we have the music, now we do. And I feel like that's her best way of communicating, is through her music, is through her art, it's through her poetry specifically. I feel like I have a full understanding now of, again, what Halsey's been through, where Halsey is now. And I already had a lot of that from prior projects, but this covers a lot different ground, I feel like. I already said that Manic is my favorite Halsey album, and that was because of a lot of the themes she covered, as far as like the ups and downs and of just being a human. There's a lot of self-exploration, paranoia, anxiety, from one thing to the next, up and down that album. And I feel like this album is a bit more cohesive than that album, as far as telling not just one particular story, but just kind of speaking to generally where we're at now in life, how our past experiences have led us to where we are now, and how this major health revelation has affected us, and where we are now. Speaking about Halsey, of course. I'll just say overall, this is definitely an album that this is truly the definition of one of those albums that absolutely fucking positively requires not just 2 listens or 3 listens. I'm talking like I'm gonna need to get to like listen 5 and 6 before I'm have a full understanding, one, of my feelings on everything, and my interpretations of everything, the way everything sits with me, because emphasis on everything Halsey's giving me here. Halsey gives us everything. Halsey gives us so much in this project. And that's why my biggest takeaway, without even fully knowing how I feel about everything musically, because there is so much going on in this album and what's being shared with us, I still leave this with really high praise. I really do. I think she's so cohesive in the way she shared her feelings with us. It's not even just her ability to share these feelings and be this vulnerable. It's the way that she weaves everything into song, and it's really impressive. I mean, the letters to God, the 3 of them, are just one example of her incredible ability as a songwriter. But up and down this project, all these songs just make a lot of sense, and I find them relatively easy to follow, despite, again, sharing such complex feelings about the human experience and Halsey's specific experience. You just don't get people sharing such complex emotions about the human experience in such a cohesive way. I think she deserves so much credit for understanding her feelings, expressing them, sharing them in song, and and having it all be in a way that just really works musically as well. I really only felt there really was only one time where I left a song and I was like, I feel pretty certain that I don't love that as a song. I think that was Hometown, but I still really liked the general idea of the song as far as what she was getting at. Other than that, there was no other time in this album where I'm like, this is a horrible song, don't like this. No, there's just so much to take away from every single song. Every song on this album is such a gift. There's so much to chew on. So yeah, it's like reading a great fucking book, really, is what this is like. Throw in a lot of creative musical and production choices, very cinematic. I want to double down on that too, because a lot of the music in here feels very score without your usual sort of like, oh, where's the big hit? I don't feel that on this project, and it feels intentional even from some of the things that Halsey said in this project. Initial reaction is this is one of the best songwriters alive and sharer of feelings alive, and I hope we all appreciate her for that, because I certainly do. Thank you all for hanging out with me for this. You mean the world to me. Lots of love. See you for the next one.